Good morning from SFG Top Performance. With us today, we have our regulars in Charles, Jason, and Derrick. Some of the topics we'll be covering today are going to involve seed, the R7, cold weather and the effects, pre-chemicals and dry weather, and how the operation in spring is going on. Derrick, would you like to start us off on the seed, the R7, and cold weather, please?
Yes. So as we go through the season now and we start looking in fields, look outside, we're seeing some corn pop up. Now we can row a handful of corn, and really with this cold weather and dry weather, I've been pretty impressed how quick the corn has shot out of the ground. That the early corn that we kind of gave a loose prediction that it might be 3 weeks sticking in the ground because it was the cold temperatures, it came up and just a hair over 2. So I've actually been really happy with that. Been really impressed, and even the corn that was planted 10 days ago is already up. So that warm weather really helped that out, and really all the corn has come up about the same time of the guys that planted early and the guys that planted 10 days ago, and it's sitting really good, and I'm really impressed with it. We found moisture that we planted in, and really there's still some moisture out in the field. Just yesterday, I had a guy no-tilling soybeans, and we haven't had a real measurable rain in a couple weeks, and the ground's hard, but still an inch and a half down. There's a little bit of moisture in these no-till fields, so that's good. And if we get a little heat, those soybeans will still pop up as well. As we go forward with this corn crop, we're going to need to catch a measurable rain here. I'm hoping it sounds like this weekend, that promising a little bit, but these corn plants are going to start switching over to their nodal roots and stop taking from the seed. They've been living on all the nutrients in the seed right now, but we're going to need a little bit of rain to get some root growth going, to be able to take up some of the nutrients that are out in the field here soon. Those nodal roots start about V1, and there's some corn that is going to start putting on its first official leaf. So we're getting really close to needing those nutrients out in the field, and getting really close to some corn that we can row down. And we'll be out scouting hot and heavy here in the next week or two, making sure all the chemicals working, looking at those emergence, taking stands, and using our R7 field forecasting tool with that as well. The next step for that is we're out scouting the field and then determining the emergence date, doing stand counts, making sure everything came up evenly, and then we'll do our first initial nitrogen recommendations. And those might be a little interesting, because the models right now, they're talking we're on the dry side. So when we're on the dry side, nitrogen doesn't work it works well, but it doesn't get into the plant as well, because you got to have water to pump that nitrogen into the plant. So the soil's been cold, so we haven't been converting, and we haven't had a lot of water to pump those in. So those are things we're looking at here in the next 2 weeks, and we'll be able to have an update with you on the nitrogen field forecasting tool next time we have our podcast. Jason, what has this cold weather done with all the chemicals we've been spraying on the fields?
Hopefully we get a rain soon. I've talked to Tanner Whipple, our BASF rep, yesterday, and asked him what do you think is going on, and what is the official technical bulletin say? And so he sent me quite a bit of information. And in general terms, he said most of that chemical is still laying on the soil. It does take the rain to activate this chemical, as we all know. So as long as we get the rain to activate the chemical before the weeds germinate, we will probably have some effective control. And the good thing about this is, where the cool weather has slowed down the weed germination as well in the dry weather, but they are going to start germinating. So we're going to need a rain very soon. There are, different chemicals take different amounts of rain. 1/2 inch to 1 inch of rain is going to take to activate this chemical to make it work and be effective. So the total pre's we're going to need some rain on, definitely, for them to work. And the ones on the soybeans, we're going to need some very soon. So hopefully we get this rain Saturday night. Some things that were kind of interesting to me, the half-lives of the chemicals, like the S-metolachlor, 8 days is the half-life. So that is why we want the rain within 5 to 8 days of getting it applied, because half of that chemistry is through sunlight degradation and being tied up in the soil is half of that chemistry is tied up or gone within 8 days of application on S-metallochlor. Zidua, the half-life is 380 days. So with a product like Zidua, it's there. It's going to be there. It's not going anywhere until it rains. The only problem is, getting it activated in the top inch of soil, so no more weeds germinate. Outlook has a 44-day half-life. So, there we have some time on a lot of our chemistry to keep weeds from germinating. It's just the weeds that germinate before we get the rain that are going to be an issue with our chemicals this spring. And, as I said, typically we like that half inch of rain within 5 to 7 days of application. And we've done a lot of spraying in the last 5 to 7 days. So this Saturday would be an ideal time for an inch of rain to activate everything. And a lot of our chemistry is still going to, work very well. A lot of the early pre's that we put on, we probably have lost some to half-life, but rain is definitely still going to help them from keeping these weeds that haven't germinated from germinating. And so I think we still have a lot of potential for our chemistry to work, but we definitely need to do a rain dance so we get a little bit of rain Saturday night and Saturday afternoon. So we have some effective weed control. And there are a few things that if we do happen to miss this rain Saturday night, there are a few things we can try to do. Nobody likes the old rotary hoe, but that does help incorporate it in the top inch of soil. And we'll also take out some of the germinated weeds when we have the white roots it's able to pluck out. And I know there's very few of them in the shed anymore, but they're an option that if you're worried about your chemistry, that may still work. But ultimately the rain, a half inch of rain would be our most ideal scenario to get things to work there. And now we want to have a word from our sponsor.
Armazon Pro herbicide is the most flexible corn herbicide on the market, delivering more reliable activation. On average, Armazon Pro herbicide is 2.5 times more likely to receive an activating rain than competitive herbicide. In addition, Armazon Pro herbicide delivers broad-spectrum post-grass and broadleaf weed control. It also offers a wide window of application from pre to V8 or 30 inches and gives growers the freedom to easily tank mix with other herbicides and adjuvants like MSO, COC, and NIS based on their unique need. Be sure to contact your SFG agronomist for complete details about Armazon Pro herbicide, and remember to always read and follow label direction. Derrick, Jason, we had some concerns that maybe we might have had a frost earlier this week. At what temperature can this emerging corn and beans be safe? What I've been reading, down to 28 degrees. The beans and corn can take that temperature before it'll kill them. But with that, about how much time when it hits the 20? Is it bumps 28 and it kills them? Or if it goes down to 28, it has to sit for an hour or two? What can you add on that?
My experience with that is I grew up in north central Iowa, where a lot of times we planted in the frost and it was cold and we had a lot of crops get froze off. and usually it takes 4 to 6 hours of that cold weather to affect, to really kill that plant. Corn is very hardy. That little plant may look sickly and weak out there, but most likely it's not going to affect the corn at our stage we're at now. Growing point's still well below the ground, and soybeans are our issue, and it does take some time. Derrick, what is on soybeans? What is your thoughts?
Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say on soybeans. 28 degrees for 4 hours. That's about when we see a lot of risk. And really, right now, the soybeans that are up are really the only risk. With that frost didn't go very deep. And on corn, like you say, it'll look sickly if we get those kind of levels, but the growing point is still 2 inches below the ground. It doesn't come up above the ground until we hit, V5. So I'm not concerned with corn. It's just the frost damage leaves. They look sickly when that happens, but it generally doesn't hurt any yield. And soybeans, yeah, we need to have a lot colder temperatures than we've seen this last week to worry about that. But if we've seen frost this time of year on them, so it's definitely something to look at. And soybeans that are all popping up right now are at that risk. So it's something to keep an eye on, but today I'm not 100% concerned about it.
Okay, great. Thank you. Charles, can you give us an update on operations throughout the company? How are things going?
You bet. As a company, I think we worked an average of 5 out of the 7 days this last month. Seems like every day we were doing something somewhere. We are in the process of finishing up anhydrous in the south region. Got a couple days left down there. They'll be done. Dry fertilizer is pretty much about the same. They're 2 or 3 days away from getting wrapped up. Pre-spraying, we've had every machine got available going, and I said we can finally see the light at the end of the tunnel that we're getting caught up. Looks like if we get the rest this weekend, we'll have pretty much all the pre on that's been turned in, and that's wanted to get done. We're in the process of getting the side dressers ready, the liquid side dressers and the row crop side dresser, getting ready for side dressing urea and side dressing UAN. So, and then after that, then we'll be ready for post spraying. That'll be here. They'll be wanting the skinny tires on here next week or two, ready to spray and road corn the second time. So it just keeps going. And another thing we're doing is in the process of going through some of these toolbars and starting to get them ready to get in the shed and get them ready for next year.
Okay, good. Good. When we contract with our growers to spray their fields, SFG gives a lot more. The farmer gets a whole lot more than just a field spray. What SFG does is we keep the records. We provide the liability insurance. We stay abreast of the new and better products. We help with product and rate recommendations. We comply with SARA Title III. We dispose of the containers. We store the products. We provide the flexibility of pre and post application. We provide hazmat shipping information. We provide the ability to switch products. We transport the products to the field. We supply the foam marker and the dye. We provide the first line defense in disputes. We comply with worker right to know. We provide a staff with over 500,000 acres of application experience. With SFG, we spray the field. I want to thank you all for joining us today. We appreciate you coming in and listening to us. We appreciate the business that you have given us in the past. And we want to thank you ahead of time for the business you're going to give us in the future. Have a great week. Take care.